The number of confirmed deaths has passed 200. The governor has called a state of emergency.
Hundreds and hundreds of bodies.
Hello there, Seraphim17 once again. This is my Last of Us Survivor Difficulty video walkthrough. This is Chapter 2, The Outskirts. This is downtown. So you're going to see me move through this area slightly quicker than the ones before, because I've done this area a lot. This was from the demo. If you haven't downloaded it, this is the section you're going to play. And there doesn't seem to be too much loot in this area at all. I've looked quite a lot, quite extensively, and I didn't find anything too worthwhile, so I just didn't really bother. So on every subsequent playthrough, I grab a bottle from the side of the building before we enter it, and that's about it. Like, if you're playing on normal or easy or something, you might find a whole bunch of shit. But on hard and on survivor, the game, it gets really scarce with the supplies. And it's kind of crazy, some of it. Like, there's only a couple of moments where I got to the point where I had very little ammo when I was recording this guide. Moments where I had only one gun with bullets in it, and it wasn't enough bullets to give me any kind of comfort. But there's definitely a feeling that goes along with that that's worthwhile and fun, because you feel tense, you feel the tension of the game. Like on hard, I generally always had every gun with bullets in it. They didn't always have that much, ammunition, but I always had everything loaded. And it seemed a decent amount of scarcity, in my opinion. Like the loot for the pickups and stuff, I didn't realise how prevalent it all was until I played this difficulty, because, But the big thing that gets me, it's not the damage, it's not the loot, it's the awareness of the infected. I think hard had it right. I think you should be able to sneak up to anything in a crouch, because, you could do that on Dishonored, even on the hardest difficulty. It made sense, it was a gameplay trait, it's how it should be. But not the clickers, because the clickers are special. Clickers have got advanced hearing, because they've got no eyes, man. Their eyes have all mutated and turned into fungi. So the rest of the senses have compensated and made them the enemy that they are. And that makes sense. So it makes sense that you should have to be more quiet around the tickers. The tickers? Why am I saying tickers? Around the clickers, sorry. Than you do the standard guys. But on this difficulty, they've diminutized the value of the clickers' hearing, because everything here is just as good. And sure, it makes the game more challenging, which is the goal of a harder difficulty. I just don't think it makes it more challenging in a worthwhile way. Because you crouched, walking up to a dude wearing a helmet and a gas mask, who can only hear his own fucking breathing in real life, even though, this is a game, obviously. Yet he spins around with the avid hearing of a clicker, if you're not doing the brush the analog walk, and it's just, it adds to tension, it adds to difficulty, but I just think it's one of the things that could have been left. But round here's some tape, which is always good. Like, this game, it looks so goddamn good, and videos do not do it justice. You have to play it. I keep telling people in comments when they're saying anything, like, play the game. And I'm not doing that to be nasty, I'm just doing that because you've got to play it. It's like, the people asking, is the game as good as everybody's saying? Like, the people are calling this game that good for a reason. It's not just mass hysteria. It's because this game does things that I don't think any other game has even come close to. A lot of people rave about The Walking Dead because it's maturity, because the risks, because the uncomfortable situations. Well, imagine that extended even more so and playable, because The Walking Dead is essentially point and click. This is not. And a couple of people have mentioned frame rate issues. I didn't notice the frame rate dipping so much, but I play this game very slow, so maybe that's the main reason. Like, I spend a lot of it just drinking in views and just pacing around, so I didn't really notice any frame drops at all. Like, I don't know if that's a hardware thing, I don't know if that's just one of those things that can happen. Because everybody used to tell me on Dark Souls on PC played like shit, but on my PC, Dark Souls played flawlessly. There was no frame rate drops. And the only thing I can think of is those people had shit PCs. Like, I bought a PC for Dark Souls. There was nothing else on my machine. It was at the peak of its power, and it played Dark Souls gloriously at full spec. Like, the PlayStation, my PlayStation is the old version. It's the bread bin thing. It looks a bit like a... What are those fucking biscuits called? Those awful biscuits that I really don't like. Well, it looks weird, anyway. And it seems to have played it fine. The game has one big load at the beginning, when it's showing you these kind of Firefly-esque spores, particle effect. And once it's loaded, you never see the game load again. But I think every time you do the co-op actions like this, I think it's loading here. Like, when you open the doors and you're holding the fences and stuff and they're going under like Army of Two and Gears, I think that's the loading when it's doing stuff like this. I think they've managed to hide it through animations, through procedural animations, which is clever. Like, they might have hid some of it in cutscenes, because you can skip a lot of the cutscenes, but you can't skip the dialogue, it seems. Which I guess is understandable, because the game is all about it. And people have been saying, oh, you know, you're talking through the entire fucking game, blah, 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 blah. Like, yeah, I am. It's a commentary on a guide that I'm making, you dumb bastard. If you want to hear it, buy the game. It's so good. Like, a lot of people have even bought it and played it and still whine. It's like, fuck me, dude. Go and watch... What's that guy's name? There's a YouTuber, I can't remember his name, but I found his channel the other day, and one of his qualities, or his perks of his channel, is that he doesn't have the annoying commentaries. It's like, yeah, that's great. So in other words, you play, you record, and then you put up what you've done. It's like, congratulations. I could do what you do in 10 minutes. Like, and that's nice, because it gives somebody that option. But I don't understand people giving people shit for commentating, because commentating is making the channel your own. You know, anybody can put gameplay up, guys. Putting gameplay up is the easiest thing in the world. You know, how do you separate yourself unless you have supreme skill? And a lot of these people that don't commentate aren't that fucking good. Now, that right there, I can hear the clicker. I played all of this without any sound, so I didn't notice that clicker then responded to me, which is always fun. But the clickers aren't too bad. There's a couple of scenarios where they're a pain in the ass, but for the most, I avoid all of them. There's only one scenario where I shoot them, and that's because they were being a pain in the ass, and that is in the graveyard. You get a shotgun. The shotgun is just beautiful for killing clickers. So it just makes full sense. But I mentioned earlier that there are parts of this game that make it seem like you can stealth them, and then when you try, it fails. The last fight of the demo is one of those moments. There's an area where you can skip all the enemies, but then you have to move a drawer from in front of a door, and it screeches when you pull it, which alerts all the enemies. Which is the game's way of saying, you have to kill these enemies, you have to get rid of these people, you need to clear this room. And I find that really frustrating. Like, the only thing I can think of is maybe if you throw a bottle and you get them all to the other side of the room, maybe you'll have enough time to pull it and get through the door. I really don't know, but this game is great. There are just a few moments of it where, you know, the game itself kind of ruins the experience, which is a very strange phrase. Because a lot of the criticisms that I've seen people throw against this is it's not a game. It's like watching a movie, which those people to me are just dumb. There's no two words about it. Like, I can understand that criticism when it's aired at Kojima, because he actually makes you sit through cutscenes that are like a film. But this game, almost all of it is told in-game. It's told while you're exploring, it's told while you're scavenging. And that is gameplay, guys. Scavenging, exploring, adventuring is gameplay. There came a time before every single game was a first-person shooter where you shot at, like, fucking faceless nations of you know, communist threats from who cares a fuckistan. Like, there was a time before everything blew up every 30 seconds and it was a constant on-rails adventure to see who could get the most headshots, where you walked around an environment you were not familiar with, and that was gameplay. People seem to have forgot. You don't have to be murdering, you don't have to be driving, you don't have to be doing something, you know, ridiculous and hyperbolic for it to count as gameplay. Right? And the only thing I can think of is that You know, the people who are complaining about that stuff are not the people that this game is aimed at. Because I think this game is at the most fun outside of combat. When you are exploring, when you are hearing the exposition, when you are moving with a sense of dread or suspension and you're trying to find resources, I think that is the peak of this game. I think that's when it's at its best. You know, the combat, the intensity and all the ferocity stuff, that is great. The stealth can be good at times. But this game is at its best when you are trying to survive an unknown scenario. You know, when you're trying to traverse a path that is not 100% known. And that's the stuff people are complaining about, and it's just crazy. But you'll notice I've stealth killed a few guys, I killed a clicker there with a few shots, and I'm going to run away. And the problem I'm having here is I can't switch to my other pistol without stopping and putting my bag down, which takes a while. So instead, I try and kill this guy quickly with a brick. You'll notice I'm getting punched as it happens. Get a couple of hits on both of them, get grabbed, go for the quick choke. Whenever you're in those encounters, just bash the attack button. You usually come out ahead. And I'm going to probably use one bullet here to stun this guy and then finish him with a punch. And I fuck it up. So, there's a bottle over here. Pick that bad boy up. The bottles are super useful because you can quickly throw them, stun them, and then run in and finish them off. There you go. And the cool thing about that is if you have a melee weapon, sometimes it seems to be an insta-kill. Sometimes it's not. It's one of those variables that I wish I could really control. When you're playing as Ellie, when she's got the knife, if you throw a bottle at somebody, she usually goes up to them and shivs them, and it's really good. But Joel is not as reliable. And that would make the bottles even more powerful than they are, and I'm probably going to experiment with that to see if I can get some kind of system, and I'll put a video, you know, giving you an interesting way to cheese the combat if you can. But just experiment, you know, quick throw the bottle, then go up to them and try and attack them, see if you can finish them off quicker, because I think with a weapon there's a chance of them dying almost immediately. But there's some bullets. This is the thing you've got to move that alerts the entire room. It really frustrates me when I played the demo. Because I was approaching this like I approached Deus Ex and Dishonored. I thought I was going to be able to get through it without anybody knowing I was there. And it's just not that kind of game. And they never said it was going to be that kind of game. I don't know why I thought it would be. And I'm glad, actually. I'm glad it's not. Because it's so much fun. Like that section just then. It looked sloppy. You know, we were having fist fights. There was blood on my screen. I was running away. I was scavenging items mid-fight. It was intense. That stuff is good, man. That is the fun of the game. That is really where it comes alive. And I thought I saw some materials there to craft some items. They popped up on the screen momentarily. I don't know if I grabbed them or if I didn't look at them right. But no bother. It looked like alcohol. And at this moment in time, you don't do too much crafting, so you don't need it as much as you're going to need it later on. That being said, I would always recommend searching as best you can to grab everything you can, because it will help in the long run. And there is an interesting 6-axis motion in this game, which I read about in the instruction manual and thought, fuck that, I am never going to use it. But it turns out it's actually pretty cool. So your batteries in the flashlight will start. Oh god, that bugs me so much, and it happens all the time. Like, this game is great, but the AI companions get in your way so much, they will cock-block you to the end of the earth. It is really annoying. Like, I had one encounter where an infected runner was running at me. I went to smack him with my bat. Ellie ran in front of me. It made him deviate around her, which made him miss my swing, and then he punched me. Like, what a bastard! All because the fucking AI. Like, wow. And stuff like they will cock-block you on ladders. There's a sequence where you sneak past some clickers and you have to climb a ladder. And you've got to wait for everybody else to climb it because you can't get up it. Every time you try to go first, they knock you off. Wow, just moments of intense... Come on, guys, I'm the player here. Fuck off. Let me survive. But it adds to the humour of it. There are some janky parts. But do some looting, bang your flashlight on. As I was saying, the flashlight runs out of batteries, and to shake the batteries like you would a normal torch, you shake the pad, and it it makes them work better. And it's kind of cool, kind of interesting. I was surprised at how well it actually works. Because I'm one of those people, when you tell me that I have to wiggle something, I'm not really interested. Like, I played the Wii, but I never really dug much of the move controls. Like the Wii U, man. The Wii U's got such a dumb fucking pad, it just seems weird. And I didn't really understand that pad at all, but then I heard something the other day at E3 that made me think that could actually be a cool thing. And that is, you can have the TV occupied doing something else while you're playing a console on it, because you can use the pad as a television. And I didn't realise it worked like that. I thought the pad was just going to be, here's your map, you know, here's your HUD, here's some pointless, trivial information that you couldn't access on the fly before, but now you can, and it makes zero difference because you don't even want to. But it turns out there are some uses for it that could be really cool. And the game in question was Bayonetta 2, which I'm going to talk about on my E3 coverage, which is coming, folks. I just need to make sure that I do this guide. So here is the clicker stealth tutorial, and if you didn't have time to read it and you missed it on your playthrough, all you have to do while you're crouched is brush the analog forward, and Joel will do stealth steps. He will not walk as heavy as he normally would, and the clickers can't hear you. Couple of things with the clickers. If you're at a decent distance, you can stealth walk past them quite easily. If they start clicking, sometimes they will get onto where you are, so you want to try and freeze if you can. But instead of, you know, playing the musical bumps kind of nonsense with them, just throw some items to lure them away and just crouch past. Like, instead of staying silent or staying completely still all the time until they walk away, sometimes it's better to try and put something between you and them. It's all about experience with them. When I first played the game, the clickers were a nuisance because I didn't understand them at all. But once you've done this a few times, once you've, you know, snuck past them, took them out, you know, encountered them and seen how they respond, how they react, they definitely get much more easier to navigate. Like, there's a sequence coming up all the way at the end of the game where I somehow trip the awareness of a clicker, and it follows me on this bridge thing, this like grating, and I'm backing up ever so slowly away from it as it's stepping quite slowly towards me. And it's that terrifying moment of, this motherfucker's gonna see me here and ruin everything I've just done. And I'm backing up and he's following, and I'm backing up and he's following, and he doesn't respond. So, two things we noticed just then. Firstly, the bricks aren't as good as the bottles because they don't make as much noise. Three things, actually. The clicker I wanted to move didn't move, so we can't get to the area where we need to go. He heard that one. And the third one, your companion AI run around making so much noise, it is a nightmare. They can't be spotted by the infected, it doesn't seem like, but at the same time, sometimes they can. It's one of those things that the game never really explains too well. It just expects you to know. And case in point, humans can grab Ellie, and so can infected too. Like, but it only seems like it works when they know where you are. So it's almost like you need to trigger their aggro for them to be able to interact with her. But I've had times where nobody knew where I was and they've grabbed her. Like, I don't understand how it works at times. I don't know if it's a glitch, because a lot of people are mentioning a lot of glitches. I don't know if it's just one of those random things that happens 1 in a million. Like this, can you hear the noise? That is me pressing triangle to make Joel do the fucking command to put her up the ladder. Like, that was nerve-wracking just then, because that clicker came really close and Joel just would not respond. And this is it, watch this. I try and get up the ladder, she knocks me off. And it's just that moment where, if this was me, I would shoot them both. Like, if I was Joel and this was the future and this is how shit humanity was, I would shoot both those motherfuckers. Because I'd do so much better on my damn own. But I'm a nasty human being, so I can say that. But there you go, that is the end of Downtown, folks. I will see you in the next video. Hopefully this is helping. And, yeah, you take care now.